goody, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back again with a brand new video. And I'm going to keep it a Bowberry biscuit. I do not care that the Carolina Panthers beat the Houston Texans last night. Well, it would have been a downright shame if we had lost to Davis Mills in his very first NFL start, a quarterback who was drafted in the 3rd round of this past April's draft, who honestly did not look very good in his time in college, should have stayed an extra year at Stanford, and looked absolutely lost on the field for most of the game last night. But the point I'm trying to make is that a win against the Houston Texans cannot distract me from all of the things that I saw in that game. And it's not just one thing you can really hone in on. It was the energy. It was the refs. But more than anything else, it was the fact that it is Thursday night football. Thursday night football is great when every other team in the NFL is playing. I love watching Thursday night football when 31 other teams in the league are playing. When my team is playing Thursday night football, it is the most ridiculous thing in the world. There is no reason to play an NFL football game on Sunday afternoon, have one day of rest, then Tuesday, another day for walkthroughs, and then play another collision game of NFL football on Thursday night. It makes absolutely no sense. First of all, football at the NFL level is not a natural kind of game. Our bodies were not built to play NFL football. And the league wants to have teams play 2 games in the span of 4 days? Thursday night football games is just bait for injuries. You cannot have guys playing 2 games in 4 days. It just literally makes no sense, and we saw it in action very early on in this game. We saw C-Mac go down. I didn't mention the score yet, bro. I didn't even mention the score yet. I can't mention the score of this game because the outcome of the game was already written in stone. We already knew the Panthers were going to win this game, okay? We already understood that. I'm worried about C-Mac hurting his hamstring, and hurting his hamstring so badly that he was in the blue tent for so long, and they announced him as designated to be out so early. Now, you can say that maybe the team already knew we had the win in the bag, and they said, look, C-Mac, you're out. You're not going back on the field. We want to protect you. But I'm not going to lie to you. That designation came way too quick. I am worried about Christian McCaffrey. And it's hard not to be when you consider just last year, he only played in 3 games and he suffered several different injuries. It wasn't just one nagging injury that kept him out. It was several different injuries. And then you see what happened last night, and it was a snap of a finger. They're like, no. C-Mac's out for the rest of the night. We're not even going to risk it. We're not going to say questionable. We're not going to say doubtful. They said out with immediacy. And that just raises red flags in my mind, and it really kills me to see C-Mac. Whew, man. I'm going to wait and see if this is a long-term thing or not, because there's going to be some conversations about Christian McCaffrey and running backs in general. I'll save that for a different day. We also saw that Jaycee Horn, our 1st round pick, number 8 pick in the draft, did get hurt as well. Broke bones in his foot. We're hearing that it probably isn't Lease Frank like we saw with Cam. We'll have to see and wait on the actual diagnosis there. But that's a huge missing piece for us. Now, on one end, we do have AJ Bouye coming back very soon. So a guy who was supposed to play the nickel as an extra luxury piece will now be playing corner. Dante's playing very well. And even though he has been playing way better this season, I'm still not sure he is a number 1 corner. I think he's a very good number 2 corner, but I'm kind of worried about whether or not he'll be able to play against the elite receivers in the league. We'll find out exactly what happens. Will Dante get bumped up to the 1 going up against X's, or will it be AJ Bouye as the X kind of cornerback on the squad? But enough about that negativity for right now. And there is more to get to. Please believe that. There is more to get to, because these boys in black and white was hoeing us for most of this game. I have to speak on the positives that I saw in this matchup between 2 teams that honestly, these are 2 teams that aren't going to get ratings on Thursday Night Football. I would love to see what kind of viewership this game got, because I just know for a fact the NFL threw this game up and said, y'all get this little primetime game. Now get out of our face. This is week 3. Y'all are good for the rest of the year. Don't come back on our screens ever again. That's what they did when they put the Panthers against the Texans, week 3, Thursday Night Football. But what I saw from a couple guys on the Panthers was absolutely amazing. We saw the emergence of Sam Darnold. Another game right here where he went absolutely crazy. 23 of 34. He had 304 yards. Look, he got sacked 3 times. I think one was his fault for sure. The other 2, I have to go back and look, but I do remember that at least one of those sacks was on Sam Darnold. The dude didn't have any passing touchdowns. Also, no interceptions, but it's the Texans without Justin Reed, their only actual decent defender outside of Christian McCaffrey. Honestly, Whitney Merciless, we can talk about it, but no interceptions, no passing touchdowns, but Sam Darnold had 2 rushing touchdowns. And I made the tweet last night. I said, look, Sam just might be the second greatest Panthers quarterback of all time. Now, you're not going to beat Jake Delhomme. Jake Delhomme is the man. Jake Delhomme is a legend. Jake Delhomme won this city, won this state, won both of the Carolinas. A Super Bowl championship. Brought home a Lombardi trophy. Unfortunately, John Casey kicked that same trophy along with the 100 or so Super Bowl rings out the window, or really just right off the field, and we did not get to cash that in. So Sam got himself for number 2, 304 yards, back-to-back games of over 300 yards passing. I know it was against the Saints without Marshawn Lattimore, and I know it was the Texans who honestly don't deserve to be in the NFL right now, to be real with you. But still, Sam Darnold's looking a hell of a lot better this year with this team than he ever did with the Jets. And it wasn't like the Jets were always playing the Chiefs or the Packers every single game. They had some pretty soft comp as well. Only problem was they were the softer comp in all of those games. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Sam Darnold. And if I'm remembering right, he was 9 for 11 on passes that were thrown 10 to 20 yards deep down the field. Just look at this. I mean, when you see his passing chart, you just think, bro, this is an absolute monster that was, I honestly, the Jets are just, they're really a poverty franchise. They really are just a terrible, terrible place that's from the top down, just not conducive, not a very great spot for development or success in any way possible. And I know we haven't gone to the playoffs in several years. But we show as hell ain't the Jets. But it wasn't just Sammy D who showed up on offense. Chuba Hubbard, after having some very abysmal games where he looked like he should have been a 7th round pick, to be real with you, he showed up later in this game after C-Mac went out, ended up with 11 carries for about 50-something yards, 52-ish yards. He looked good. He looked solid. He looked strong. And earlier on in this game, and even in the first 2 weeks, Chuba looked so bad, man. I can see him getting better and better. I don't want to call him a Mike Davis type yet. A guy who can come in and have those kind of number 1 running back kind of performances. But I'm warming up to the idea that maybe Chuba Hubbard can grow into a good piece for if C-Mac's out for 3 to 4 games, we can have confidence in Chuba moving forward for a limited period of time of, let's say, a month or so. So I'm liking the development I'm seeing of Chuba. I feel like I'm seeing him progress right before my very eyes. But someone I don't have to watch progress to know that he is getting better and to know that he is near the very, very top of his position group in the entire NFL is DJ Moore. DJ has performed over and over and over again. This past game, 8 receptions on 12 targets. Oh my God, 12 targets is a lot. But he also cracked 100 yards, 126 yards this game. DJ was going crazy, and let's talk about how Sammy was going on. These passes he was making were absolutely ridiculous. Now, let's be real about it. Texans defense was not that great. This is going to be a showcase game for a lot of offenses. Whenever they play against the Texans, you can do whatever you want to. Guys were wide open. They had the deep stuff kind of covered. Robbie wasn't really too much of a factor in this game, but I mean, everything was open, right? No Justin Reed. Literally everything was open. These linebackers cannot cover, and their corners and safeties aren't really great to begin with. So everything in that soft zone, like that 10 to 20 yard kind of area where we were 9 for 11, it was all open all day, and it wasn't really the most exciting football to watch. I mean, it's Davis Mills. He really had nothing going on for him in the whole first half. Now, near the back end of the game, after JC went out, after we had our little lull in the beginning of the third quarter, Davis Mills, you could see him getting more and more comfortable, but he only actually had a real drive on a deep pass to Brandon Cooks. So honestly, he had a few moments where he looked like he could be progressing toward maybe being a good backup quarterback and potentially being a quarterback of the future for the Texans, maybe. But today wasn't his day. Today was not his day because we had crazy pressure on him. The Panthers continued their dominance on defense with 9 hits on the quarterback, 4 sacks, and can we talk about Haason Reddick being the steal of free agency? This man was not used correctly by the Cardinals until his very last year there, and also they were playing 3-4, which wasn't ever going to be really, the way they ran it wasn't really all that great for Haason Reddick, but playing here under Phil Snow, Haason Reddick looks like the man. This dude paired with Shaq Thompson wearing number 7, these two look like they could, I don't want to call it, it's hard to be Luke and TD. You might not see that ever again, but the way I'm seeing Haason Reddick and Shaq Thompson play, you might just, it might just bring a little tear to your eye and say, you know what? Our front 7 gonna be alright. Our front 7, they really gonna be alright. I'm feeling real good about what we got going on in our linebacker position. We know what our D-line does. I mean, you already know what goes on. Derrick Brown was going crazy. Brian Burns, I think he had 3 pressures this past game. And the way we're playing right now really leaves no question in your mind as to who is the best defense in the National Football League, bar none. The front 7 looks good. Back 4 looks good. Gotta see how AJ Bouye plays, but I am thoroughly impressed with what Phil Snow did last year and what he's continuing to do this season. Phil Snow has been a godsend for this Panthers team. And one thing about the Panthers is we gonna fight. Alright? There's been years where our defense hasn't been great, but we gonna fight this year. Our defense looks immaculate. Now, I gotta switch gears like LeVar Ball. Because, like I said at the top of this video, there were a lot of positives in this game, but there are also a lot of negatives. And one of the main negatives, which is totally out of our control, it's totally one of those kind of things that cannot be changed. It's a constant in a lot of NFL games, and it's just a matter of life. There's death, taxes, and these damn refs not opening their eyes and making inconsistent calls at the most inopportune of moments. What were these refs doing? What were these refs looking at? The third play of the game, an obvious pass interference on, who was it? Vernon Hargraves on DJ. Turns the man's whole body, grabs him. They were on the far side of the field. The refs were literally looking at the play right there. Easy DPI, easy first down for the Panthers. Did not get either call. These refs were calling so many offsides penalties. Bro, it's like in the NBA if you start calling carries. Yes, bro, we all know that literally every single player in the NBA carries on every single possession. Even if you don't get the ball passed to you, you're probably carrying on that play. We understand it, bro. But come on, bro. You do not have to call every single offside penalty. You probably could call offsides on like 75% of the plays. When you get those looks down the line of scrimmage, someone's probably in that neutral zone for the most part. Just like refs really could call holding on 90% of snaps in the NFL. They do not, because they don't want the game to get ridiculous. So you tell me why these refs are making the calls they're making this game. You tell me why that incomplete pass from Davis Mills, where we smacked the ball out of his hands and then punch it out of the air, they call an incomplete pass. It was my understanding that refs are told to call those 50-50 plays a fumble because all turnovers are reviewable. So they review it, they have a chance to look at it. If it's an incomplete pass, you can't review it. Or maybe you have to challenge it or whatever. I don't know if that was actually challengeable at the moment. The ball gets punched up, out of Davis Mills' hand, and they call that an incomplete pass. Just looking at how the ball, look, from the first look of it, how the ball comes out of that pile how do you ever believe that is a forward pass from a quarterback? It popped straight up in the air, wibbly wobbly. I don't know, bro. These refs were going absolutely crazy. The fix was in. They just went, I actually have no clue what these refs were doing. These refs were trying their hardest to keep that game close. I know they had the under. I know every single referee in that game bet the under. We was going to cover regardless, but they definitely bet the under. We should have had at least 35 points. I promise you that. This team should have had at least 35 points. But it wasn't all the refs' fault. There were long stretches of time where this Panthers team just did not look like they wanted to play football. And even Bill Voth tweeted, In the 11 plays following C-Mac's injury, the Panthers had netted 14 total yards of offense. There was a chunk of time where there was not football being played. I don't know what was going on, but it sure as hell was not football. It was disgusting to watch. I was getting absolutely I was getting heated, bro. I was literally getting heated watching us play football. I'm glad we won 24-9. Cost a whole lot to get there. We had to fight for our lives, but we did win 24-9. Wasn't my prediction, but hey, look, bro, if we got the win, we are 3-0. Feels good to be undefeated. I definitely want to see how we move forward without C-Mac, without Jaycee Horn. I'm glad that Chuba Hubbard looks like he's coming to his own a little bit, and we'll see what AJ Bouye can do in place of Jaycee Horn. We should have a pretty straight situation here. Now, the O-line, once again, didn't play horribly. There were some times I had some questions, but they're not playing as badly as I expected. This game was not fun to watch. Glad Sammy D went crazy. DJ went crazy. The defense, Hassan Reddick, everyone went crazy this game. We won against the Texans on Thursday Night Football, which should not be a thing, by the way, but at what cost? It's going to be tough, but a win's a win, man. Next man up. All that kind of stuff. That's how I feel about it, though, man. What are y'all's thoughts? Let me know all y'all's thoughts in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.